Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This past year, last term, I sat on the Education Committee. The emergency manager that was in DPS came to our committee and asked if he could have more control over the school district. He wanted to control academics because he didn't believe that he could do the job that he needed to do with just dealing with finances. When he came to our committee, he expressed his need to have more control over academics, his need to have, I guess, total control over the school district, more control so that the board wouldn't interfere. Prior to coming to committee, this gentleman did a press conference, same morning. And in that press conference, he said that the train has left the station. Regardless of what this committee says, I'm going to take over academics as well as finances. So in committee, I asked this financial manager, what was his position on that? Why did he make that statement? And he said because he had the power to, because the governor was the person that he answered to, not the legislature. This type of attitude from a person that it has been deemed a person that's supposed to come and help a municipality or a school district, it's indicative of what we see here today, what we've seen here over the last few weeks. Having the power to do something doesn't mean that you do it. Having the power to do something means that you can develop a way of getting it done where everyone benefits. Tim Melton, former state representative, assigned me to a committee to deal with the issue of academic emergency because we had never determined whether or not a school district would be an academic emergency. We only had something for financial emergencies. So I took charge of that committee, and I thought it was important that we bring in our academics in this state because we have great academics. So I enlisted folks from Michigan State University. I enlisted professors from Michigan, and one in particular, Dr. Arson, came and spoke to our committee. And he had done studies about financial managers and how they don't work. He talked to the committee about it, and we deliberated, and we heard from the public. We went to the city of Detroit. We had hearings. We developed a package that dealt with bringing on help from the state in the way of a board so that there wasn't one sole power, but individuals within a community would know that there was someone else that was looking at their books, and there was someone that was a part of the education system looking at what the financial manager was doing in that district to make sure that there wasn't a sole corrupt power going on in any of the districts around the state. I thought that was a very thoughtful thing to do, is bring in experts to make sure that we are not just doing things, if you would, hully-gully. And I really believe that what some of my other colleagues have said in terms of how this legislation just mirrors the other legislation, how this body, this term has just been a brute, if you would, just rolling over and doing everything in their power because they have the power to make things the way they think it should be without taking the citizens of the state and asking them, what would you like to see? So I wanted to get up and just say that we have to change how we're doing things in this legislature. We have to enlist our citizens, and we have to make sure that we bring the folks who study this stuff every day to give us some insight on how we should move forward in doing things like this to make sure that we get a return from what we do in this body. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Representative.